Monday Mornings with Matt and Kevin. These two will debate real-life issues from a Catholic perspective every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Make the world Catholic again.
Monday morning to all of you guys out there. And you know what? It's going to be just a bit happier for all of you because you don't just have to listen to me. You get to hear Matt's voice, Matt's lovely voice. Though it might, you might sound, does he sound a little different, guys? You have to let me know.
Do I sound
Matt,
different?
Yeah, he is not fully himself. He is less Matt than he was last time you heard him. And missing vital pieces of his body, I suppose. But he's back. You look good, man. You look pretty healthy. After what 2 or 3 weeks now? You're laid up for a while.
2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks. You know, first of all, thank you. You did a little shout out for me in one of the shows. You did the show for 2 straight weeks
last week.
So you did a little shout out. You did a little shout out for me. So I got some messages from people, which was really encouraging and just great to see because man, recovery was not only hard but boring. From having two surgeries. You know, I made a joke. You would appreciate this. So I didn't tell you this before. So for those who don't know, I did have my gallbladder removed. So they had to do 2 separate surgeries, and they did this. I think it's called laparoscopic. I believe the correct term is where they stick little poles in you, and they remove using cameras parts of the organ, and then they pull out in different areas. Very crazy how advanced technology has come today. And I joked with the surgeon when they were done. I said, you couldn't have sucked out a little fat when you were in there. Like I wouldn't have told anybody. Like nobody would have known. Like
so wait, were you conscious during this?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No, that was the first time. That was the first time I've ever actually gone to sleep in a surgery. So the weird thing is like, they tell you, all right, you're going to go for surgery and you're going to be, under anesthesia and all of that. And all of the horror stories start rushing through your mind about how people don't wake up, or they don't go to sleep and they feel everything. So I'm like, I wonder which one of the 3 I'm going to be. Am I? But probably the weirdest experience that I've felt. Just for those who I'm sure people have had. It's pretty common, I guess, nowadays to have some sort of surgery. But just to be laying there conscious and speaking to people one moment, and then the next thing you know, you're in the recovery room, and it's not like going to bed. It's not like you're asleep for the night and then you wake up. It's a different kind of time
it's
go
rough, man. I had it with my appendix burst and I almost died.
You did tell me. You're right. I did know this.
And I won't do the whole story, but yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm not my full self either. And like you said, that it didn't take off too much of my weight, I suppose. But no, it's crazy because I remember them counting down, and then you're just gone. But I woke up and I was being wheeled somewhere down a hallway, and on my side, and I had a tube stuck down my throat, so I couldn't talk. And I was like panicked, man. I mean, I was 12, so I wasn't quite mature enough to be able to handle it. And I woke up and I was like full on 100% panic, like just that instant of like, what is happening? I mean, like dying, and then I think they must have knocked me out again. And then I remember I woke up again. This is wild. I think I may have told this already in the podcast. I woke up again, and my priest is standing over me, sprinkling me with holy water.
Oh no!
And there wasn't panic that time, but I remember thinking, "Whoa, am I dying?" Like,
what did I just
was like, I'm dying, aren't I? My priest is here. That was pretty surreal. Yeah, but survived. Yeah.
Well, for me it was weird because my first time. So I had surgery on the September. Let me think of the date. The 13th and the 14th. Those were my 2 days. The 14th on the first day when I woke up, I had very, very weird side effects or something. Like I couldn't see straight, and the thoughts that I was thinking, I couldn't speak them. Like I had a disconnect. Whoa. It was almost like, when you have like maybe a stroke related symptom where like you're thinking, but it's not coming out. And I told the nurse afterwards, I said, because I got to have the same thing again somewhere tomorrow. When I woke up, like I had some very weird side effects. And she just said, she joked, she goes, we gave you drugs that Michael Jackson took. So you're going to have all sorts of weird side effects.
Yeah.
But like you said, it takes you a second to connect kind of what just happened and where you are and what you're doing. Because you open your eyes and you're not sure where you're at or what's going on.
So you open your eyes and you're like, hee hee.
yeah.
right.
Jump up and do the moonwalk.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But
totally. That's rough, man.
Wow. Yeah, so that was an experience. So I'm grateful for the prayers and the thoughts that everyone sent me and commented about that because it was interesting. The thing that made it worse was they were telling me, I don't know if I told you this, Kev, either, but they were telling me, they were like, if you didn't catch this now, X, Y, and Z could have happened, which could have resulted in a month-long intubation, which could have resulted in really severe organ, what would you call it? Functional failures or whatever the terms they use. So it was kind of like, whoa, like, your eyes open up really wide. Like, I'm glad I'm here. But I was at the point in such discomfort and such pain and such miserableness that I was like, do whatever you want, like stab, poke. I had 50 IVs. They ran out of spots to do blood work, so they started poking my hands, which hurt a real lot. That was my eyes crossed. I don't really mind blood work, but that and my eyes crossed with my hand. They did that twice. But yeah, I hooked up to everything everywhere. But yeah, you're in the kind of mindset of do whatever you need to do, just like fix this finally.
Yeah, sure.
Once and for all.
So I caught up. That morphine, huh?
Yeah, they did get.
There's this great comedian, Brian Regan, and he's almost always clean. I highly recommend him, everybody. By the way, he used to. I think he's not as funny now, but he used to be hilarious. And he's got
he lost his funniness
a little bit. He's not as funny as he. I've watched a few of his newer stuff. It's all right, but his older stuff, he's got this one about morphine, and he's like. He's in the hospital, and I think he had something like what you had, gallstones or something. And he's like, yeah, I'm sitting there, and they're like, would you like some morphine? He's like, wait, that's what they gave the guy in Saving Private Ryan right before he died.
yeah, right.
It's so true.
What message are you sending me?
What? Yeah, what are you gonna do to me, man? It was wild.
I got morphine.
You got morphine?
Yeah, they did. I actually didn't notice it do much of anything to kind of be, maybe I'm that far along in the pain tolerance.
You're such a drug. You're so
right. It just has no effect anymore. Yeah, it didn't even. She was like, "I'm pumping you with morphine," and I didn't even feel anything. Wow. But it's another thing too, just really, really quick to mention, like they're weird places. I don't really go often at all. And they took me in, and I was in like a general sort of room there, not in the waiting room, but like where they put you in a bed, but it's a cheap little bed where like you're surrounded by a whole bunch of other people, only separated by a thin curtain. The guy to my right is puking his brains out. The woman to my left is puking her brains out. And they come into my area and they ask me if I'm nauseous. Like, of course I'm nauseous. Like, do you hear what's going on around me? Like, it's making me sick times 15. But yeah, no, it was great because I realized that I couldn't look at my phone anymore. You're so bored. And you're like, all right, I'm going to spend time. I'm going to, read things on my phone. I'm going to use my iPad or whatever. And like, I couldn't even look at that anymore. But it allowed me for good time to catch up with content. I read a lot. I listened to a lot of podcasts, which is really cool. I mean, that has become more and more of a favorite thing of mine. Just put it on the phone, put it to the side on YouTube, and just listen. Like,
there's good stuff out there. Yeah,
there's such good stuff out there,
especially right here on Catholic Family Podcast.
Yeah.
For just $2.99 a month, you can support
a month. That's it.
Actually, you
that's
can't.
It. Less than serious. It's cheaper than serious.
Exactly. Yeah. You guys can.
Maybe one day, Kev, you'll have a channel.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
XM
radio.
That's how. I mean, I thought about that. EWTN started that way. Like,
really?
How did they? Yeah, it just started as like let's just try something here and let's go for it. And now they're in 250 countries on cable. So.
Wow.
Maybe I don't know why. Like, there's no. I mean, I think the medium for reaching people has changed. I don't think people watch
for sure.
TV, like like people don't watch.
It's really interesting. I saw, and this is sports, but I saw. So there's these guys who've done sports talk radio in Colorado for decades, and they have. So they had their. Yeah, they're about to end their season, but Broncos are looking a little better. But the guys, they're like the big names, and they get. On YouTube, I just looked, they got like a couple hundred views on an overnight. It was wild. But you have these guys who've done podcasts for 10 years or not 10 years, 3 years, 4 years, and they're getting 20,000. And it really is pretty interesting that it is not the same as it used to be. It's not like, hey, this is a name I know. People say, oh, hey, that looks like an interesting podcast, right? A very, very different medium. And it's something it's something we haven't figured out either. I complained about that last week's show. It's like, I want to say that too. Is like I wasn't complaining. It's like I don't mind if we have 100 listeners each week. That actually doesn't really bother me. What I don't understand is that we've tripled the amount of subscribers we've had since you've been on the show, Easy. We had like 11,000 plus. So it's a lot more than it used to be. And we don't have that many more views. And I don't understand that. It's fine. I don't care if we have,
I just think
either, but I don't understand it.
I just don't think it's truly a popular position. And I think that.
But why do we have 11,000 subscribers then?
I don't know. Maybe people like listening to your radio voice. Huh?
But then they don't listen to the show. It's like, okay, why do we have subscribers?
I mean, the
question is, are they all fake subscribers? Or are they bots? I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, there's no doubt the money, the views, the membership is all in the Recognize and Resist movement. I mean, you look at some of these people who are in this crowd and like even just Twitter people. I mean, they amass 20, 30, 40,000 followers and each one of their tweets gets 2,000 likes. Just because it's kind of popular, because it resonates with a lot of mostly conservative Novus Ordites, which I think.
And you know what it is, Matt? This is going to be harsh, but it is because it's like Protestantism, right? Because they're looking for their own pope to listen to, right? Because they don't listen to the pope. So, hey, do I like Taylor Marshall's twist on this better?
True,
or
they become a replacement. Yeah, right.
Or do I like Michael Lofton's twist on it? Is Michael Lofton my pope or Taylor Marshall my pope?
I have to see what Taylor Marshall
says. Who is going to interpret what Francis says, and how am I? So it's kind of a form of Protestantism, and I know that's being harsh, but tell me I'm wrong. Someone please in the comments tell me how I'm wrong in that statement.
I know we were intrigued about his presidential run, but in normal times, if Taylor Marshall acted towards a pope the way he does, that would be grounds for excommunication. Sure. I mean, imagine having a whole network.
The guys who do it, right?
Yeah, a whole network dedicated to protesting, resisting, and judging the Supreme Pontiff. I mean, the hammer would come down. Yeah. Quite honestly. So it's very interesting times, but they make money off of this, of course, as well. And they're, but just I saw a guy, just kind of in that Recognize and Resist kind of Michael Lofton sort of. Well, he's more of a Pope explainer, if you want to use that term. True. I don't really like that term. True. But they've got their own websites, sorted out where you can go to their homepage and you could click. Do you want to read articles? Do you want to listen to podcasts? Do you want to watch a clip of something? And just the whole, there's no such thing anymore as turn on channel 22 and you can have your just the way people watch and obtain information is so very different. And I wonder how it's going to change, because if you think about it, back in those days, like getting on cable TV and FM radio was huge. Like, wow, you made it. That was really, you made it. You are heard around the country, and that is so obsolete. So it makes me wonder what in 15, 20 years, what reaching the people is going to actually even.
Well, I think there are definitely people who want it to be AI who just does everything. So you will no longer have any talent. It's just the information is being spread by AI. It's being spread by the internet. I don't think it's going to work. I mean, I just don't. I think eventually people are going to see that this soulless side of that, like literally it is soulless and it is brainless. So you can say it's just a computer. It is just a computer. Eventually, I think it's going to catch up. And I lost a job from that. We know Holly, who's on the channel, lost a job from that. So it's definitely out there, and I think they're going to try to make that happen. But I don't think it's going to work. I think eventually they're going to do it. They're going to have AI calling sports games. I guarantee you. But I think it's going to fail. I really do, because you're going to lose.
What do you think?
Even the mistakes of a real person.
What do you think of? This is totally off topic and random, but what do you think of the umpiring being computers with the K-Zone?
I like
a lot of them are bad.
What I like that they are holding umpires accountable by computer. So they're saying, hey, we're watching every single pitch, and you're being judged by it. And I think that has helped the game. I don't like at all the idea of taking away umpires. Terrible.
For every aspect of it. But imagine
it makes it into a different sport. I mean, you want a little bit of a human element. That's part of what makes it fun, even though it's terrible.
So I'm a Yankees fan. There were 2 calls, and just the other day, 2 calls, best record in the American League, although I don't think they're going very far at all. We should, I mean, people don't really like baseball that much, but Ohtani is putting together quite a phenomenal season. But
53 or something, right?
He's 58 stolen bases,
58 now.
I believe.
Crazy.
Yeah. Only person ever to be in his own club. He founded it.
Yeah.
Dodgers. But these 2 calls were overturned in the game the other day for the Yankees, and it was by the same umpire. So it was a call at first base. The runner was actually safe, and he called him out, and then it happened again the following inning. And it made me think of how much of baseball history might be altered or changed because calls are actually blown, or calls were actually wrong, that it's changed the entire outcome of an inning. Who even knows? I mean, it's sort of strange to think, but you're right, that human element is in there, but it's frustrating when they don't get it right too.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
especially when it goes against you.
Sure. I get that. Yeah. No, I understand the argument, but I just think, do we really want to dehumanize everything? Do we want to make it so that everything we're reading and listening to and watching is inhuman? I mean, it's not a good path.
And we're losing a lot of natural talent to a lot of natural skills. I mean,
totally. It's going to be worse and worse. Yeah.
I have family members that were actually in the printing industry, like graphic design and all of that through the 80s and 90s, and just what was done by human hand in literally a knife to cut out little pictures and all that was completely replaced with Photoshop. And just so people lost their jobs, people lost their skills. I mean, there were some people that were that I knew, not my own family, but just who worked with them, who were top tier graphic designers for these big companies that worked for ESPN and all of that. And they did tremendous hand by hand work that was like stunning to look at. And you think it's like it's a priceless craft until the owner comes in and says, "You're fired. Our new Apple computers can do all this without you."
Yeah.
And that happened in the 90s. So just to think about where things have
going to get worse and worse. I mean, for sure, it's gonna hit sports real quick. And again, it's just with the media. It's gonna hit media.
Who wants to listen to a robot call the game?
Yeah, but it's not going to sound like a robot. But it's going to be too perfect. I'm telling you, they're going to make AIs that are going to be Joe Buck, but even better, like better actually. But you're gonna tell. I think people aren't going to like it. I think they're going to do it. They're going to try it.
You're going to know that it's not
I
real.
think it's going to fail because then you're going to be like, nah, come on, we need Joe Buck's arrogance back. Some of the things you don't like about Joe Buck, because you need that. You need humanity. I mean, it's part of sports that we love. Is because it's real, because it's also to be not fake. There's nothing that's not scripted, and that's part of it. Also, with reporting on it.
I don't like that they've done this with people who have died as well. They've tried it with Vince Scully or whatever. I think that's very improper to do, like to resurrect his voice and apply it to a live situation. The Yankees had a announcer, Bob Shepard, who was the stadium voice since the 50s, I think, from 52 to 09 or 08, something like that. And they've done it where they've kind of taken his voice to recreate announcing new players, and people are like, don't do that. Like, it's because he never said these words.
Right.
It's kind of weird to do.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, and it's great that these people, I mean, Vince Scully is by far the greatest to ever do it in my mind.
Of course he is.
But it's like, okay, but so you're just going to say, okay, great. So he's the best ever. No one else ever has a chance. Sorry, guys. You will never get a chance, because we have to have everyone, not just is going to be Vince Scully. It's just going to be AI. It's ridiculous. Do you think Vince Scully would want the future generations to not even have a chance to be better than him? Of course not. I think he was a very good Catholic conservative man too. And I think he would be the last person. 7 children.
I think he has a lot of big family.
I think he was a good man. Yeah, I mean, very, very good man. And I think he would not have been able to stomach that. I think that's it's sad. Anyway, Matt, we've gone so far off. I've actually got to get going. But I do want to say a couple things before we go. We have literally talked about everything and nothing for the last 18 minutes. And I've got to run. Unfortunately, Matt's going to continue the show here after this segment, but I do want to say a couple things. First of all, everyone who's still with us, please go sign up for the Fatima conference if you can go. It's up in Spokane as every year, October 9th to the 13th, at Mount St. Michael. They have a lot of the normal speakers, Bishop Pirunas,
Louis Verrecchio.
Yeah, exactly. The key, he's not the keynote, but the guest speaker is Louis Verrecchio, who's a good friend of the show. Someone who I like a lot, like his opinions. There's also a Father Philip Murray Davis, who I've heard has a really, really cool brother.
That took me a second.
Wait. Father Philip Murray Davis. But no, seriously though, if you can go check that out. You can just Google CMRI.org or the Fatima Conference, CMRI Fatima Conference Spokane. I know it's kind of short notice, but my parents have gone. I've never gone, but my parents have gone, and they absolutely say it is a life-changing thing. We may have to talk about this next week, Matt, because actually I have a lot to say about it. I know you would too, about the the recent accident, I suppose you'd say, of Bishop Tissier de Malaray, right? That's his name.
That's
right?
Correct.
Yeah. So he's one of the 4 bishops who was consecrated by Archbishop Lefebvre. I think they say he's the nicest one. I think that's what
I've heard. The same. I've heard that he's the most charitable and polite. Yeah. Yes.
Not Bishop Williamson. That surprises me a little bit. Anyway, but it is. It's. I would say, please, everyone, say a prayer for him. I heard that he fell downstairs after praying the Angelus. I don't quite understand the dynamics of this, but it sounds very serious. He is still unconscious as of the last Facebook post I've seen. And so please, yes, he is a valid bishop. Yes, he holds to a position that we disagree with, but he is a valid bishop and from what I understand, a good man. So please pray for Bishop Tissé de Malaray. And I do want, Matt, let's think about this for next week. This is a really interesting question because I think this is coming up soon about the question, what do you think they're going to do about their lack of bishop issue? Because Williamson's gone already from them, that he's not going to do anything for them. So you have 3 left, and they're all obviously getting older. So I think it's a really interesting question that I think they have kind of, you hear rumors like, oh, they're going to find something. I think they thought even Juanda at one point might, consecrate somebody, which obviously in our minds is like, oh boy, well, that's bye-bye SSPX. But anyway, let's say that for next week.
We'll save that for next week. I have thoughts.
And I know you do, man. Let's talk about that. And there's another one we're going to say for another podcast. I'm trying to get on a priest from either the Trento Society or a priest from the CMRI who speaks Spanish about a very big topic that's been going around. That is a bishop in Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico, I believe. Let me pull this up real quickly. Bishop Ochoa. And he joined last week the Society of Trento. So Trento, that is a society that works with Bishop Pavrunas hand in hand under, or not, I guess not under Bishop Davila, but Bishop Davila is their bishop. And I'm just trying to see, who is their superior general is Reverend Daniel Armando Perez Gomez. He came out with a statement after the fact because this bishop, Isidro Puente Ochoa, was conditionally consecrated, joined Trento, but then came out very strongly saying he is not sede vacantis. And so after he did that, the whole internet's freaking out and saying, oh my goodness, the Society of Trento, they're no longer sede vacantis. They've joined the Novus Ordo. Absolutely not true. That's the one thing I want to talk about on this show real briefly and just say in their statement, they are still absolutely sede vacantis. They believe that all the popes since Pius XII are not true popes. They believe that the new mass is a false mass, etc. So the Society of Trent has not changed in any way. That's what I want to get across in this very brief comment. And I do want to say that I am doing everything I can to get on an expert on the matter to discuss it in deeper, because I think I don't have time with Matt today, but I think it's also a bit above our pay grade, but very interesting. And I can tell you, Matt, this is one, you got to read this. It's one of the most interesting and somewhat shocking developments in the last decades regarding sede vacantism. So I'm going to hope to have on a priest this week, and if we do, then I'll get that clarified, and you and I can talk about that next week too. So we'll have a really good show. Because I'm telling you, Matt, you got to read this. It's pretty incredible what they say, and there's some stingers. There's going to be a lot of people in certain groups that are not going to like what they have to say. I will try to attach. I think I have a Facebook generated translation of the statement. So to be very clear, everyone, that is not the official statement, because the official statement's in Spanish. This was just Facebook translated. I'll copy paste that in the show. And I'll try to find the link of the original document from the Superior General of the Trento Society. Anyway, very, very interesting stuff. And wow, a lot to talk about next week. Stay tuned. We're hoping you're going to have on a priest very soon to clarify this, because it's big, man. I mean, it's really big. And I think your mind is going to be blown, and we'll definitely have to cover that when we talk next week, as well as, well, what on earth?
Guess I'll lose another organ.
You might. from this stress, Matt. I'm pretty sure you and I are going to disagree.
Start the IV trip now.
We are going to disagree on this topic, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be it's going to be a really. I think so, at least. I mean,
like Thanksgiving. Food.
Exactly. Well, like I said, you're getting a lobotomy. I don't know if you heard that part of the show, Matt. People thought that was pretty funny.
Did not know that was coming.
Matt is having a minor surgery. He's like a lobotomy because of his, makes sense because of his views on Thanksgiving dinners. Anyway, guys, I got to run. Matt's going to stick with you. We'll see you guys next week. I'm already excited for next week, man. I really
That's
am.
Great.
So let's talk about those things next week. Everybody, thanks for listening, and please continue listening to Matt. And I will see you all next Monday, Matt. Till then.
So Kevin had a run, but I wanted to finish up with all of our listeners. Yesterday at night on Sunday, Donald Trump posted on Twitter the prayer to Saint Michael, the Archangel, which of course yesterday was the feast of Saint Michael. And it's interesting because, of course, he got some Protestant rebuttals, saying that, this is not right. How can a man pray to a mere creature? The typical Protestant heretical response that you'd get from these people. I think we have to consider the possibility of two things. One, is it a sincere enlightenment in his heart that he is growing maybe in this relationship with God and growing closer to the Catholic faith? Or is he pandering to certain demographics and certain blocks of voters? I'll leave that for you to decide. I'll report, you decide. That used to be what the news was like back then, right? They just give you the facts with no twist or spin or anything like that. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting of Trump to post last night on his Twitter page. Throughout the day, he posted it on Facebook and his own platform, Truth Social, as well. So he's making his rounds with the St. Michael prayer. Before we leave today, I have been reading a bit more through Divine Intimacy, which is a book by Father Gabriel of St. Mary Magdalene. And I wanted to read just a brief reference from entry 129, the Daily Cross. I think this is beneficial to all of us because it really relates to the trials and the sufferings we endure in life and how all of these sufferings are presented to us by God in his utmost divine providence. So I wanted to read this to you. This is entry 129 of the book Divine Intimacy. Jesus calls our suffering a cross because the word cross signifies instrument of salvation, and he does not want our sorrows to be sterile, but to become a cross, that is, a means of elevating and sanctifying our souls. In fact, all suffering is transformed, changed into a cross as soon as we accept it from the hands of the Savior and cling to his will. And cling to his will, which transforms it for our spiritual advantage. If this is true for great suffering, it is equally true for the small ones, as all are part of the divine plan. All, even the tiniest, have been predisposed by God from all eternity for our sanctification. Therefore, let us accept them with calmness, and not let ourselves to be submerged by things which are unpleasant. Let us leave them where they belong, in the place that they really occupy in the divine plan, that is, among the instruments by means of which we can attain our ideal of sanctity and union with God. If these annoyances are an evil because they make us suffer, they are also a good because they give us an opportunity of practicing virtue. They purify us and bring us near to the Lord. However, to understand the value of this cross is not equivalenting to bear it. We need fortitude as well. If we let ourselves be guided by Jesus, he will certainly give it to us and will support us in our daily struggles and sufferings, leading us by the path he himself has chosen and to the degree of sanctity he has determined for each one of us. We must have an immense confidence, advance with our eyes closed, and forget ourselves completely. We must accept the cross which our Lord offers us and carry it with love. If, with the help of grace, we succeed in sanctifying all of our daily sufferings, great and small, without losing our serenity and our confidence, we shall become saints. Many souls are discouraged at the thought of suffering and try in every way to avoid it because they do not have enough confidence in the Lord and are not fully convinced that all is planned by him down to the last detail for their real good. Every suffering, whatever its dimensions, always conceals a redemptive, a sanctifying grace, and this grace becomes ours from the moment we accept the suffering in a spirit of faith for love of God. Well, thank you for listening to Monday Mornings with Matt and Kevin here on the Catholic Family Podcast. May your week be filled with God's immeasurable grace, and may you pray your rosary every day. Pray for our country, pray for our leaders, pray for our nation, and as always, keep the sweet name of the Blessed Virgin Mary on your lips. God bless you.